What's up, everybody? Rando Mando here. Today I'll be going through the three lists I took of Palp Yellow to SCGCon. It was a weekend where just I was expecting Han 1, I was expecting Red, Blue Heroic, I was expecting some Jangos, and I was hoping that now I've always loved Palp Yellow. I'm sure some of you realize that and have noticed how much I've been playing it. So I was like, now is probably the best shot to dodge Sabine when a new set releases. People are still like, oh, this did well at PQs now that Bobo's gone. I can play Django now. I can play Han now. I can play heroic mid-range now. And I was like, perfect. I think now's my chance to really strike and try and make a big dent. So this was the list I took to day one. It looks, I mean, it's a pretty standard list. I mean, if you're looking for something game-changing, definitely not it. Um, it's very more based on mid-range strategies. Now that Boba was gone, I felt that if I just ran a really decent mid-range package, I could beat out all the other mid-ranges. So it's like great. Two sneaks were my like specialty. To the two sneaks and the scanning officers were my like, let's tech and be spicy. Scanning officer was there for smuggle. Like I said, I was expecting heroic. I was expecting Hans. Both run like tech probably. So boom, let me be really annoying. And then sneak attack was my idea of sneak attacking in Walker, sneaking attacking in Maul earlier if need be to take care of a leader, essentially being a rival's fall, sneak attacking Devastator in, sneak attacking in the P-38 Starfighter to deal with Falcons, to deal with space units, sneak attacking in a mercenary gun. Basically, sneak attack was like my let's deal with units because my package is so mid-range heavy that once we get to 7, 8, 9, 10, you're kind of just cooked because I will drop bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb, take your bomb, and then take another one of your bombs with change of heart and palp. So it's like I just had to get there, and once I got there, I had to hope that I just didn't die from burn. Um, the lackeys are also there for the expansions of 3/5s. I also knew Django and Quinlan were 3/7s. Boom, great. I can do one extra damage. I don't need to run the boss to have my leader to have my ambushed unit stay alive like I did before, where a lot of the units were coming in with, or a lot of the leaders were flipping on 4. Alsage also flips with 3. Sabine also flips with 2. So it's like great. I can ambush. I can do a lot more damage. I wasn't running too many events, so I didn't feel like I need the boss pings. In the sideboard, I went with Conspiracy. I was hoping to yoink specific cards that I figured decks would want. For the any yellow matchup, I was expecting Cunning. For Django's Triple Dark Raid, um, Merciless Contest was just like, I don't know, let's put something in here. Evacuate was because I didn't have Outmaneuver. I didn't bring it with me. Whoops. But that's what that would have been. 3 Palp's Return was for uh, the Ray Tarkentown super discard strategy. Um, I was just like, well, I have a bajillion bombs. What if I play them cheaper because they decide to pillage, you know? Relentless for Control and then Devastator. The funny thing is, what I was thinking of taking Palp Yellow to SCGCon. It wasn't this list at all. Um, because I just wasn't, like, I figured it would be good, but I was like, I don't know. But I figured it was. So, it was a 9-hour drive. We got there. It was like one, two. It was like when I got everything set up. It was 3 in the morning. I was like, I need to put together a list. This is the list I put together. 5-1. I was very happy. Let's check out why I went 5-1. Ray Tarkentown, first match of the day. Perfect. I was like, let's go. This is what I'm. This is what I thought. It went as what I thought. I understood exactly what I needed to do. Keep my hand big. Make sure Ray doesn't get big. Those are the two most important aspects. I made sure to no good me dead Ray. Don't let nothing happen. I made sure not to flip too early. Made sure to flip right at least I think I did, you know. But usually it was Bazine. I took out the dragons usually, I think. And then of course I had Conspiracy in my sideboard. Great. Even more answers to the like even though like Conspiracy was a bit risky because it was like their plan is to make me discard and I'm going to double down on that strategy for them. But it's one of those like if both of our hands are gone and we're top decking, I'm 90% sure I've got a lot more bombs, especially once I brought in the Palps returns, it was like I've got 3 Palps returns, 3 Vaders, 2 Mulls, 2 Cads, 2 Reinforcement Walkers, 2 Devastators. Like when we go to top deck mode, statistically speaking, I'm pretty sure I'll top deck better than you. That was my plan. It worked, thankfully. Asajj and the new Arena, that +1/+0 for 26 HP, very aggressive. But like I said, game plan here, tap down leader. Bazine, I took out the Cunnings, same general strategy. Take out that key card that is annoying for me, tap down the leader, stall out the game. The Kira Green 30, I played Kira Green at the PQ in Chicago, 5-2. And I understand that this matchup is incredibly favored for me. This is he did top. I was his only loss today. But yeah, the only way Kira can really beat me is if they vigilance, and so I just had to make sure to position myself where it was never he couldn't really properly vigilance, and then of course I'm just fine having Kira flip into a lackey or kind of just ignoring her, to be honest. 4 damage, it's not that bad when that's the only thing coming, and I will win out in the late game. His top end was actually kind of insane though. I'm not gonna lie. He was running a lot bigger than I thought, but it was a lot less more specific things. Like he was running 3 Avengers, I think, and like, but he wasn't running too many Devastators. No Relentless is main. A couple of Snooks, but not as many Vaders. So it was one of those like the top end he had a lot, but it wasn't really what he needed, especially since I had the Palp Flip always in my bag. He wasn't running Super Laser Blast main. So it was like I generally assume Cure 30s don't until I do. I played them in mine, but I assume most don't. So I'm like, perfect. Game 1, I flip with the full knowledge that he can't just clear it instantly. Game 2, you expect them to clear it instantly, but game 1, it's a nice tempo flip. The Quinlan Green 30, uh, I know my local Rebel resource, he was talking a lot about this Quinlan Green deck idea, whether it be ECL or 30. So I had a general idea of what it was trying to do. It was trying to ramp, General's Blade, win. So I knew what was the most important thing. Don't let Quinlan get a General's Blade. So, sorry, No Good to Be Dead was basically my crutch. Either that or ramping and bazining their ramp, or bazining the lightsaber. And then trying to set up a maul to just one-shot him. Anakin Blue took me by surprise. I was expecting more of the Ray Turkentown Hantu Blue type of deck and using Anakin to just trade up to the late game, but no, it was a much more aggressive deck than I anticipated. He had like Cassians, he bravadoed, he put 2 lightsabers on Anakin and bravadoed. Anakin was massive, he smacked me around like a little doll. I got cooked. So that's one of those. I think the Anakin deck was like I wasn't ready for the shell it was in. But now that I know the shell it's in, I felt absolutely fine. But unfortunately, it was one of those revelations came a little too late. Tarkin Blue 30. This was a much more down to the ground, mid-rangey, pure Imperial package. Not much in the way of control, so it got me game 2 by just I was ready for it to go heavy, and then it just went more attacky, and I was not ready to be rushed with an aggro like Veers, Pump, very aggressive Imperial units. I was just not ready for it, and it got me slipping. And so third seed, 5-1, we split the top 8. Looking back, yeah, maybe should have played it out. I mean, the Anakin Blue 30 that beat me was in the top. The Quinlan Green I beat was in the top. The Cura Green I beat was in the top. The Tarkin Blue I beat was in the top. So I was like, I basically played the top 8 already. So maybe, but I also, I, the thing started at like I was there at like noon, and like I said, I built the deck at 3, and I wasn't sure what in the world I was going to do for tomorrow. So I was like, I was good to split and sleep. So this is what I brought for day 2. Um, I did a couple of changes in the main deck. I took out sneak attacks. I did not play them the day before, and then I removed 1 CAD for 1 Bosk. I was noticing that my turn 4, essentially 5 resources, however you want to call it, was a little weak. So I just didn't like that. So I wanted just another thing. And then intimidators, like I said, most of my games yesterday, it felt like my goal was to tap down leader. What taps down leader? Intimidator. Perfect. I kept roughly the same idea, still prepping into what I assumed the decks that were bought day one, I figured people would just bring them day two, and for more or less that was for sure. Sideboard changed up. I didn't like my sideboard. The conspiracy card underperformed like crazy. It was good in two matchups, but even in those two matchups, it was like, eh. So okay. Added timely for ambushing units in the same kind of vein as sneak attack, but a little different. I wanted the ambush now rather than the decreased cost card advantage engine. Cartel spacers, in addition to running the intimidators, utilize it to either if Vader didn't grab a P38, it could grab that little combo decently. It helped in the space matchup. Fell the Dragon for Dragon and for fire sprays, pose, wreckers, big units. I also like Anakin's, any matchup where I felt like I was going to anticipate flipping a little earlier than I wanted to. I wanted that ace up my sleeve. That decks certainly were not expecting me to have actual pure removal for their big threats. Um, so that was another change of heart for. Again, I was anticipating Django's, so I was like, great, if they Ruthless Raider, I've got another answer for Ruthless Raider that doesn't involve me taking a bajillion damage. Two Pulse returns, I went down to one because I realized I only sided in two in every matchup anyway. Didn't really feel like I needed the third. I took out a CAD. Like I said, it was great in the matchups it was great in, and it was really mid in the matchups it wasn't great in. Space was something it was exceptionally good in. Um, it was amazing when dealing with space. It dealt with space amazingly. Like CAD Bane to me is like I don't like it was felt like a one-sided evacuate basically. It was amazing. Um, so one split there, one relentless, one extra devastator. Um, control mid range. My matchups were a lot of Django. Who would have thought? First match though was Sabine Yellow. Didn't draw too hot. Didn't draw reinforcement walkers. He sneak attacked a lot when I didn't. I just never had an answer for it. No waylays, no good be dead, no tap synergies, nothing. He got me by 1 HP. It was a bit annoying to start the day off with such a bad matchup. Seeing it's like one of those like I was hoping to dodge it, and can't dodge round one. Round two, Django Target Town. Here's where Cadmian absolutely shined like crazy. Um, stealing two space units, stabilizing on the 7 turn. When they're on like 6, they fire spray. You take the fire spray next turn, you tap it down. They can't root it. It was great. It was great. I was surprised at how well the matchup played out. Like, Django really wasn't a threat. 3 damage on 5 that they don't ramp to. Target Town really wasn't an issue because there's not a lot of turn 1 plays I actually care about. So it's like, okay, fine. Hunt 2 ECL, aggressive, but funniest thing was Scanning Officer actually was probably the MVP here, along with P38. Both of them kind of just messed him up. I hit Scanning Officer a couple of smuggle cards and that messed him up, obviously. I hit a Cassian and I hit that smuggle out that deals 1 damage to each base. And the P38, like, he did half the job for me already. So having to do extra wasn't needed. He did take me a game though, just because it's an aggro matchup and aggro's terrible. I fought the Anakin Blue, same Anakin Blue I fought yesterday, but this time I was ready for it, and the results were better there. He got me 1 game still. It's a good deck, but with the knowledge ahead of day 1, I was able to be better equipped. Another Django Target Down. This one got streamed. You can see it was very close, which all the Django Target Downs are close, but definitely winnable. I think if you want to tech into Django, you definitely can, and you will. Uh, could be definitely favored. I think. I know, crazy. Um, so yeah, very close. Um, Sabine Seal. Uh, again, it's aggro. It's rough. But man, this one I felt like I really could have won. For like 3 turns, I want to say. All I had to do was draw a reinforcement walker, and I was just fine. I didn't see it off of 9 draws because 6 return, 3 from Palp. It was really sad. Just no healing. He eventually was able to timely intervention wrecker for the 2nd time after e-sealing wrecker. So it was like 3 ambush wreckers, 2 4 causes, maybe 3. I don't really recall. It was like every out of hand damage you could think of. I think he also had 2 K2s that ended up getting at me that I had no answers for, and the Sabine ping. So like, yeah, it was like that game was like, bro, can you just not draw absolute gas? But no, he drew it, and I didn't. I certainly did not. So that was rough. Well, I mean, who doesn't know that though? And then another Django Red. This one was no Tarkin Town, more mid-rangey based. Unfortunately, he was on the now there are two of them package. It does not work into my deck. You'd think like a really good start, but I just waylay. I just tap it down. I just move on with life. Like, it's not super big deal. Um, so yeah, I went 5-2. I bubbled on the ninth seed. What can you do? Uh, I got manhandled by Sabine, and my performance was iffy like throughout the day. Like a lot of 2-1s, not great. I was hoping to do a little better than that, but it is what it is. So what did I do day three? Well, I noticed I did pretty well day one. I noticed I did pretty well day two, and I was like, well, I gotta try again, right? So two changes here. Boss gets removed from the main board for Traitorous. Try and help out in those matchups that were a little close. Anakin Blue, the Sabines, and the Jangos. So that was a little tech there. And then of course I went down a scanning officer, up a Yularen. Like I said, I was hoping to find more smuggle. I didn't. I wanted more healing. Yularen was that. I still wanted to tech into Han, like I said, but not as much. Um, so that was my slight change there. I was fine with Cad Bane 1 in main, 1 inside. You could do 2 in main. I would absolutely understand that. I did that day 1 and it felt absolutely fine. Sideboard, like I said, I wanted just a little bit more healing. So Cromwell in the main, Cromwell to the sideboard. Cartel Spacer still in the sideboard. Fellow Dragon still in the sideboard. Move the boss to the sideboard. Toss it. Didn't side it in any matchups, I don't think. So yeah, 2 Pulse returns, same. So like I said, it was pretty much the same deck I took day 2. I just a couple of minor adjustments. So how to do? Pretty well. Um, 6-0, only undefeated in Swiss all weekend. Which is a nice little title that Palp Yellow can have now. Yeah, so here, now that I went down on my Han 1 tech just a little bit, I fought a Han 1 Yellow. Um, but, and the funniest thing, I didn't actually see any scanning officers in this, but I have a little bit, I played, I think, one Han 1 Yellow Ryan Rebel Resource. Played it at one of our locals for once, and I got a little bit of an understanding. Um, CAD Red 30 is a great matchup. Um, like they ping my units that I'm going to sack anyway, so essentially they're playing without a leader. The leader flips late. It doesn't do anything. I can just tap it with no good to be dead, or my. The thing is like an Intimidator taps it and doesn't even die, so I can tap it twice. So it's like I have a 1/4 that'll take all your pings, tap your leader, and still not die, and then I'll sack him. Yeah. Quinlan ECL was a much more aggressive version of the Quinlan Green. Same general strategy, just being more aggressive with it. It was really neat. But it's one of those like I knew what to do, so I just did it and it worked. Anakin Blue, same player as day one, which was the same player as day two. But this time, like I said, I was absolutely ready for exactly what I needed to do. And this time, both games were not really close. Um, Traitorous helped immensely in my second game because, like I said, we played all 3 days. He didn't see Traitorous. When he put lightsabers on his units, it worked wonderful. Boom, now I have the Traitorous. He put a lightsaber on his Sabine unit. I just ramped, took it, started swinging 6 to base, raced him like crazy, and then I barraged to kill Anakin, and then swing. So it was like, it was just over. Um, but obviously, that only works if they don't see it coming. So, which is the same kind of thing he did to me day one. Was he did something I didn't see coming, and it totally crushed me. Um, Quinlan Green 30, kind of the same vibe as the Quinlan ECL, just a little bit thicker, so I was ready for thicker. All these Quinlan Green 30s, I was expecting U-Wings in main, I was expecting home ones in main, I was expecting big bombs in the main deck, so it's good because they were playing big bombs in the main deck. But yeah, just don't let them General Blade and get an attack off basically. So no good to be dead the leader, delay, 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 kill it with something, Maul, Vader, just tap it down. Again, Intimidator, massive here. The 1/4 doesn't die, taps it down, can tap it down next turn, sacrificing itself. It was great. So 5-0 going into the last matchup. It was a Luke Green. I was feeling pretty good. Game one, it worked. Like I said, these blue, green, yellow shells. They all kind of more or less the same. It was the same concept. You general blade on your leader. That's Jedi. You play big stuff that are green. Home ones, your wings. Yeah. Um. So I got him game one. I just tapped down his leader, and it was kind of over from there. Game two though, I saw like no ramp. He got out his leader. He played like two lightsabers on it. I didn't draw no good to be dead. I kind of died. So essentially the same way I died day one to the Anakin blue, big leader, swing swing, GG. Um, but then in game three, it was much closer game three, but I was able to get there. Um, so like I said, I should be favored into all of these mid-range, like all of these decks. I was absolutely, I would say, favored into, and it showed. But like I said, only undefeated in Swiss all weekend, which was a nice little thing to have. Unfortunately, I was not undefeated on the day. Top cut, Yoda Yellow, another, like I said, Yoda Yellow, Anakin Blue for my top 8, top 4. The Yoda Yellow was interesting. It was definitely a card advantage type of thing, but the issue was it played Kianemunde, and then I took Kianemunde, and then I drew like way too many cards from Kianemunde and Palp, and my hand was like a glove, and yeah, not very good when you're on like 3 cards and your opponent is sitting on like 15, 16 for drawing, 5 every turn instead of your 2. It adds up quickly, and yeah, whenever he flipped Yoda, I basically either tapped it down or devastated. It always felt like I had every answer in the book. That's probably because I did, because I was drawing so much. Thank you, Katie Mundi, for sponsoring this video. Um, Top 4, Anakin Blue, Playa Linted by Lego Pizza. Um, this was one of those, if he played me day one, he would have probably cooked me. But I had now essentially 3 times playing this matchup against a pretty good pilot. So I was able to pretty convincingly, it was close. Both the games were nail biters, absolutely nail biters. But I understood what I needed to do and what he would be. I understood the matchup much more clearly, and it helped me a lot. Um, I was ready for bravado. I was ready for the Anakin big turn. I was ready for everything. And looking at his list and the other dude's list, they were very similar. So it was like perfect. I was right in that assessment. But the finals against the BNCL, I got cooked. Simply plainly. Yeah, I drew so very horribly game one. It wasn't close. I did nothing. I don't think I killed. Like I really didn't. I don't even think I killed a single unit with how badly I drew. So that was rough. Game two, it went a little bit better, but man, again, I just drew nothing. Like I just drew nothing. No ambush units, no healing, like just nothing, and I just kind of died because I just drew nothing. So that was a little unfortunate. That the finals were just like it was like 5-10 minutes, and we were in and out. Um, so that was rough. But I mean, it's one of those. Biggest takeaway, speed matchup, still abysmal. It really is. For this deck that I built specifically on the weekend, the speed matchup was absolutely horrible. So, what did I learn? Well, MVPs, no good to me dead. Absolute MVP, king of the king here. Being able to basically make every other leader come out closer to when my leader comes out is really good. Quinlan coming out essentially on 7, Luke on essentially 8. Because they come out, you tap them, so they tapped on their tap turn, they don't ready for the next turn. Now they come in, but oh, it's a little late. Especially if you can ramp to it too, like you can usually time it up pretty well. So yeah, I tapped down a lot of stuff with no good to be dead. I was very happy with the 3 copies I ran main. Elite P38 Starfighter, a set 3 edition. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Just replace 7 Fleet Defender for me, absolutely. Not even close. Kills Falcons, trades well, pings, makes Vader 6-7. You can bring it out. It's insane. Like I wanted it. It felt always good. I always wanted it. Cad Bane, like I said, I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he was, but he was as good as he was in the matchups he was good at, which was space. I think without him, probably would have been cooked in a couple of matchups for sure. Especially if you watch the stream, like that Django matchup, I would be cooked without Cad Bane being able to shore up space. I think I want to say against the Anakins, he was also massively clutch because Anakin's strategy usually was just go space, and I had Cad Bane for that. And Cad Baning stealing like 2-3 units, and then being able to then barrage on Cad Bane for 9 is insane. It cleans fast. So those were my 3 takeaways, which was really nice that the 2 set 3 additions helped. They helped in matchups. They helped in the space zone, which was usually a really, really bad spot for Palp Yellow. So it shored that up a little bit. So 4 big takeaways. Sabine matchup still abysmal. I had to reiterate that. You would have to make changes if you wanted to be good into Sabine. I wasn't expecting to play Sabine. I kind of gave up on the matchup. Let me be real. Um, so it's a shame that that was the finals. But the Django matchup is fine. Like I said, you can definitely work harder to shore up that matchup. Maybe they work harder to shore up your matchup. I doubt it. But yeah. You have to be cautious for like triple dark raids, ruthless raiders, fire sprays, damage out of hand. Um, Maybe they run blasters or something. Yeah. Um, Anakin is fine. Like I said, as long as you know what's coming. That's what's the important part. They've got perilous position. They've got lightsabers. They've got bravado. They've got Cassian. They've got a space game plan. Like those were things. Well, maybe they had a space game plan because of Django, but when I was playing it, that was the field. So you have to be absolutely ready for them to be way more aggressive than you think they're going to be with a leader that flips on 6. They were very aggressive whenever I played them. Especially Anakin putting a lightsaber on Anakin, killing essentially something for free, dealing a lot of overwhelm, bravadoing now because you killed something for 3. Like it was insane. Like the flip turn could be insane because they could lightsaber an Anakin, say he did 10 damage to their base. He was a 6/7. Now he's a 9/7. He kills your unit, gives it -2/-2. So essentially, you like block 1, you take 8, then they ready him, you take 9, 17 damage on a flip turn on 6 resources is kind of insane. So you just had to be ready for that. I know, like I said, I tapped it down. Like I think every game I won, I tapped him down, or I prevented any shenanigans by either ramping too fast to kill him with Maul, or ramping and then stealing a Sentinel that they played out, kind of slowing him down. Those are general things I tried to do. But yeah, like I said, Palp will be looking to change to the meta change. Decks are not going to be the same they were today or this weekend, and I definitely would not be playing the same thing. I'm definitely looking to change it. So yeah, that was my Palp Cunning weekend. The biggest takeaway is Palp Yellow is in fact a deck that loses to Sabine.